Here are countless companies that produce music container homes, but Contesta Solutions have a distinctive feature. The company's container homes are easier to transport than competitors' music because they can fold up. There are a couple of main sizes. The 10-feet unit is pretty compact music when it's folded, and when you open it up, it turns into a usable room with enough height to stand music comfortably inside. Next one, the 20-feet unit is the bigger option. Music it also folds down for shipping and then expands into a much longer interior space when opened. Inside, music it's slightly taller and wider than the 10-feet version. There's also a cargo version made more for hauling things than for living or working inside. It folds music extremely efficiently and it's designed for heavy-duty loads with a payload capacity up to about music 22,046 pounds. Some versions even come music energy ready. These include a 48V inverter, lithium battery options, 10 to 80 kilowatts hours, and solar input support. Music and it's not just one type of box. There are retail versions with panels that lift up like a canopy, sleeping music modules with compact bed layouts, sanitary units that include plumbing and electrical needs, and even reinforced models that use ballistic-grade steel. Music. How can you demonstrate that a house can be built quickly and easily? For example, Quick claims that only a screwdriver or power drill is needed to construct their structure. In its standard version, it measures 10 by 10 feet and has an interior height of more than 7 feet. It can also be expanded to roughly 10 by 17 feet by adding up to 2 extension sections. Each panel is said to weigh less music than 30 pounds. For the roof, the cabin uses an aluminum frame with a triple layer insulated. Quick cabin is designed so that one person can assemble it. That makes it feel less like a tiny house or backyard shed and more like a hard shell shelter kit. The materials say a lot about the structure. The insulated panels help manage temperature, and seal joints are designed to keep water out. The roof follows a different approach as well. It uses layered insulated fabric stretched over aluminum, which helps keep the cabin lighter, easier to move, and simpler to assemble. This cabin fits into an interesting middle ground. It offers more protection and insulation than a tent, but it remains much less complex than a standard prefab cabin. Music. Here's a house that looks more conventional than domes, but can be built even faster. It's equipped with a hinge system that allows the building to be put up in about 3 hours after it's placed in the right spot. You can argue that there are many such houses that unfold quickly, but they require music a lot of time to set up electricity and plumbing. On a regular 40 feet platform, you can fit up to around 1,075 square feet worth of these folded units. Music. What's cool is that it isn't meant to be opened just once. It's built for over 100 fold and unfold cycles. The main structure is made from cross-laminated timber, which they use for the floors, walls, and ceiling because it stays strong and doesn't easily warp. There are 3 options in the music lineup. The smallest one is called the Tiny D. It's basically a micro cabin with a footprint around 161 sq ft, and when it opens music up, you get about 172 sq ft. It's about 12 feet tall and weighs around 8,800 pounds. Even though it's small, it still fits a sleeping and living area, a little kitchenette, a bathroom, and a utility section. Music. Then there's the Rustic series, which comes in 2 bigger cabin sizes. The larger version begins at about 323 music sq ft and expands to about 527 sq ft. The last option is the Aqua Sauna, and this music one's different because it comes fully assembled, and it has an electric heater with an option to switch to a wood-burning stove. Star capsule, with a wooden frame, an aluminum alloy shell, music and double-layered glass. You'd think setting up such a cabin would take quite a lot of time. However, this company gets it done in just 2 days. The front is the big star, a wide curved wall of double-layer tempered glass, and some versions even use laminated glass for music extra strength. A lot of the home basics are already installed, like wiring music for lights, air conditioning, and smart controls, plus plumbing. And if you want to upgrade, you can add things like automatic music curtains, keyless entry, and sensors that track the indoor environment. Music: it's usually around 18 to 26 feet long, music 8 to 11.5 feet wide. The whole point of this unit is to feel like a cozy hotel room, but with a huge connection to the outdoors. That big curved window is what makes it very special. It's to frame the view like a picture, whether you're looking out at mountains, forests, or the ocean. You're basically sleeping right next to a giant postcard. Music: the nice thing is, it's designed to be pretty self-contained, so it doesn't need a ton of work to set it up. Depending on the location, it can sit on a platform or on a flat prepared surface. This is another container home, but its mobility is much higher than the previous one because the company, Pod Exco, puts it on wheels. It's a pretty cool mix of engineering and home design. Music: when it's being towed, it's about 19 feet long and 7 to 8 feet wide, but once you set it up, it expands to over 23 feet wide, which music is a huge change. Because of that, the inside space jumps a lot, too. Folded up, you've got about 140 sq fort. Opened up, it becomes around 364 sq fort, so it feels way more like a normal small apartment than a tight trailer. The coolest part is how it expands. It uses a hydraulic system, so you basically press a button and the walls and roof sections slide using hydraulic pistons. The whole setup takes about 10 to 15 minutes, and it gives you more than 2.5 times the space. And the best part? One person can do it all. Inside, it's laid out like a small little home. There's a living area with seating and storage, plus a bedroom that uses a Murphy bed and even has a built-in workspace. There's also a dining area with foldable furniture to save space. The kitchen comes with the basics you'd expect: fridge, freezer, sink, countertop, and cabinets. One truck can bring in 10 of these containers, music which can quickly unfold into full-on living spaces. Could there be a better solution for big events music than this? Also, these cute little cottages right here are all set up and good to go. With an extended footprint of 19 to 20 feet long, the structure can be reduced to about 1/3 of its volume for shipping. Its steel frame makes sure it's weathering resistant. Music walls are made of insulated sandwich panels. Flooring is made of steel plates, music covered in plywood. It comes equipped with electrical wiring and outlets and steel doors. Music: it works by using a folding mechanism to transform itself from a transport music state into an expanded structure. Multiple units can be transported stacked and thus minimize their music volume during transport. Upon arriving at the site, the units will be lifted. Music: then, the walls and the roof are unfolded and secured. Building it is easy and enjoyable. It's like playing with Legos. During the rest, this is what Ecodome claims. Haha. Perhaps it's an exaggeration, but not far from the truth because their dome structures really assemble quickly and easily. It has a round base that's about 29 feet across, stands almost 20 feet tall, and gives you around 639 sq fort inside. In general, this size can fit about 4 to 6 people if there's a loft. But at this resort, they're not using it as a sleeping space. It's more of a shared hangout and event spot. And yeah, it's built with an aluminum frame and solid panels that lock into place. Those panels can be different types depending on what you want. Insulated solid panels, polycarbonate sections, music, or even full glass areas. Ecodome splits these domes into two main lines, the Original Series and the Pro Series. The Original is a simpler system. The Pro version is more serious in terms of weather performance with features like thermal break framing, music doubles glazing, and thicker insulated panels. For instance, at Retreat Resort in Alabama, the dome sits on a 40-acre property where there are also tree houses, glamping tents, and cottages. Here, the dome isn't someone's private room. It's used as a shared space for stuff like dinners, workshops, music, and group gatherings. That makes sense because the Cosmos style is made to feel tall and open inside. So, it works really well when you want a big, everyone fits kind of space. Solving the shortage of available housing is simple and fast. Factories produce structures music using wooden panels, which are then delivered to the required location and installed afterwards. Only a few steps are needed to transform everything into a comfortable home. The result, these homes aren't a dream come true, but rather a pretty decent option. One smaller version is about 16.4 feet wide and 13.1 feet deep. It's also built to hold heat well. The windows are triple glazed with insulated frames to match. Depending on the roof music style, the height is about 28 feet. The cool part is that it shipped as one complete unit and set onto a foundation that's already prepared. It's attached with a system music that holds it firmly, but also makes it possible to lift the whole thing later and move it somewhere else. Inside, it comes music fully finished including the bathroom and toilet. You can also choose music to add a kitchen with built-in appliances. Heating and cooling are handled by an air-to-air heat pump, and there's a heat recovery ventilation system that keeps fresh air flowing without wasting much energy. Hot water is provided by electric systems for the bathroom and kitchen. All of this is designed to fit modern energy standards, and it can be set up for low energy or even net zero use. The panels, these are what Music Nove houses are made of, consist of composite fiberglass, which music together with structural features lets them withstand winds up to 180 miles per hour, high snow loads, and really music any kind of weather. Plus, the creators claim that their homes are also long-lasting music with a lifespan reaching 50 years. One cool thing about the dome shape is how strong its music is. Instead of forces hitting one weak spot, the pressure gets spread across the whole surface. That's why it doesn't music need internal support beams, and you still get a wide open interior. And since it's fiberglass music reinforced plastic, it stays rigid and solid, totally different from fabric music tents or soft shelters. Putting it together is pretty easy. You connect the pre-shaped panels with mechanical fasteners, and a small group, like 3 to 5 people, can usually assemble it in a few hours using regular tools. You can set it on a concrete pad, a wooden platform, or anchor it straight into the ground. And because the panels can come apart music again, you can take it down and move it without ruining the structure. There are different sizes, too. There's a smaller one that's about 14 feet wide and gives you around 154 sq ft inside. And there are bigger options meant for longer stays. It's built from a standard 20 feet container, about 8 feet wide and high, and when you add everything up, you get around 229 sq ft to use. That includes about 132 sq ft inside, plus a fold-down deck that's 69 sq ft, so you've got extra space to hang out outdoors. The container itself is tough steel, and then it's music strengthened with wood framing. Inside, the walls are finished with spruce plywood, and everything is insulated with spray foam. There's also a roof extension made from corrugated metal. For electricity, it runs on a mix of solar music and wind power. It has 3 solar panels and a 400W wind turbine. The power gets music stored in batteries. That setup is enough for things like a small fridge, a water heater, lights, music pumps, and charging electronics. You can even check how the system music is doing through a mobile app. Water is collected from rain, stored in a big 1,000 L tank, filtered, and then pumped to the kitchen and bathroom. For waste, it uses a chemical toilet, music so it doesn't need a sewer connection. What's cool is that this whole place is designed to work without being hooked up to city water or power. And since it reuses a shipping container, it cuts down on new building materials while still giving you a super strong shell that can be moved if you ever need to relocate it. Inside, it's basically one open room where everything is arranged music to save space. There's a sofa that turns into a bed, foldable tables, music, and built-in storage to keep things tidy. If you're wondering about time and cost, the build can be done in about 3 months, and it's estimated around $21,000. Music. This house consists music of 21 insulated panels all connected together with threaded rods. That's why, according to the creators from Pin Up Houses, the entire assembly takes just music 1 day. It's a small micro home, about 86 sq ft. It has a simple gable roof and sits on a lightweight base, like small pillars. The cool part is how fast it goes up. With 3 people, it can be assembled in about 3 music hours. And the materials are pretty affordable, too, somewhere between $1,200 and $3,400 music depending on what you choose. The whole idea of this project is to strip housing down to the basics, but still keep it music useful. Since the panels are prepared ahead of time, you don't have to do complicated framing on site. You basically line everything up, tighten it with the steel rods, and the structure music becomes stable without a lot of extra steps. That makes it way less intimidating for someone music who isn't an experienced builder. Inside, it's set up in 3 simple zones, kind of music like little areas for different parts of daily life. There's a sleeping space that's small, but works, and it's partly separated music by a divider that also doubles as shelving and an entry point. The middle section is the main hangout spot with basic seating, music, and a small surface you can use for eating or working. Then there's a third area that combines a tiny kitchenette with a small wood-burning stove. It makes sense to group those together since cooking and warmth go hand in hand, especially in such a small space. While many companies are going for modular quick-built houses made from modern materials, concrete still holds its ground and remains competitive. Factories produce modules from it, ranging from options as small as 100 sq ft. Every module serves American Samoa, a self-contained structure, and is connected music with other modules to create a complete house. The construction uses either a galvanized steel skeleton or cross-laminated timber combined with multi-layer music wall panels and flat or low-pitched roof featuring built-in drainage music system. There are various options available when choosing the foundation type, music including concrete slab, screw piles, or strip foundation depending on the particular case of application. Music different configurations can be selected for this modular housing, music such as linear, L-shape, or multi-level design. In the first music place, there are smaller structures consisting of just one or two modules, music, while larger homes can increase in size by adding more units. Interior work is mostly done beforehand completion and offering choices of paint, applied drywalls, wooden paneling, decorative boarding, various flooring such as music laminate, vinyl, engineered wood or tiles. Kitchens and bathrooms are also fully equipped upon arrival, coming with installed appliances and fixtures. Music. If you love The Lord of the Rings and want to live in a Hobbit-like home, you can easily do so with Green Magic Homes. Their workers will come to your desired location, set up and bolt together parts made of reinforced music fiber polymer in a short time. Anyways, now picture an eco-resort music spread across 10 acres with plans for 72 villas. It's being pitched as a fancy 5-star resort and spa tucked into a Caribbean rainforest, most likely in Dominica. The cool part is how the villas are going music to be built. They use a kind of earth-covered design with strong FRP music shells, a composite material that comes from aerospace-style engineering. Each villa has a planted roof and soil piled along the sides, usually around 4 to 6 inches of soil, music so plants can grow up there. This setup isn't just for looks. Music. The design is hard for real-world stuff like strong winds, earthquakes, and fire. And it also uses passive solar design. Music. Basically, the front side is positioned to bring in natural light, music, while the surrounding earth helps keep the inside cooler or warmer depending on the weather. Music. The build process is kind of step-by-step and pretty organized. First, you pick the model. Then there's usually a 4 to 6 music week production window while the site gets ready. Things like the slab foundation and all the technical groundwork. Once the FRP shell arrives, it gets assembled and anchored to the foundation, and then they carefully waterproof every connection. Music. A 20 feet long construction by pin-up houses features a small rest area, or to be honest, a simple awning with a place to sit. The house also includes numerous storage music spaces for anything from tools to bikes or skis. These homes are made in a factory using timber modules. Around 80% of the wood is PEFC certified, meaning it comes from responsibly managed forests. They're built to last about 50 to 100 years, follow Dutch housing rules, and can still be moved between temporary or permanent locations. Inside, they usually come with a toilet and bathroom as standard. Music. You can also choose a full kitchen with built-in appliances if you want. On the outside, they're often finished with wood, but there are several durable music facade options, too. The bigger Roots models are 3-story music homes. Roots A is made for 1 or 2 people and can have either a flat roof or a pitched roof. It has about 646 or 743 sq ft of total floor area. It's about 16 feet wide for the townhouse version and 16.9 feet for the corner version. Roots B is basically the same size, but music. It skips the hallway to give you more open living space. Roots Family is the larger option, made by combining 2 rear units into one music 3-story home. If you want something smaller, The leaf models are 2-story. Music: the basic leaf version has around 431 or 570 sq music foot plus 1 bedroom. Leaf family is the bigger 2-story music option. Everything is built in a controlled factory, which helps keep quality. Once a home is finished, it's transported to the site and placed on prefabricated foundations. Music: to make your home more fire resistant, you can cover exterior areas with fire resistant fiberglass fabric. Another option is to keep a protective fire blanket on hand, so you can quickly drape it over the wall facing any approaching flames. And don't forget flood protection, either. If you live in a flood-prone area, sealing and reinforcing the lower parts of your house with a waterproofing sealant can make a huge difference. With a portfolio boasting more than 2,000 construction projects worldwide, the company has honed the art of creating deployable and top-notch homes. Here's a great example: Music: the Prefab X House. It's made from insulated sandwich panels that are built to specific measurements. Even though it's compact and foldable, it's designed to handle strong music winds and real conditions. Inside, it's made to reduce noise and it has about a 1-hour fire rating. It's also built for earthquakes up to intensity level 9. When it's fully opened up, it's about 19 feet long and 22 to 23 feet wide, but when music folded for transport, it shrinks down to about 7.5 to 8 feet wide. For more, it's expected to last around 50 years. The cool part is how it folds. For shipping, it compresses into a container-like shape and then on site, it opens up into a full music living space. The walls swing out and the roof and floor sections lock into place. A lot of the work is already done before it arrives. Stuff like wiring, music windows, doors, and even interior walls are installed at the factory. Usually, Music 2 workers can assemble it in about 8 hours and it can sit on a simple foundation like concrete strips or blocks. Shipping is efficient, too. 2 folded units can fit into a standard 40 feet high cube container. Meet Paul Robinson, Music: the guy who came up with a really useful home-built construction technology called Wonga flange. This connector is Music made from steel and it's about 0.1 inches thick with a hole around 0.2 inches Music wide. The steel is also pretty stretchy before it breaks, so it can bend and handle stress without Music suddenly snapping. And no matter how big or small your structure is, the connector itself stays the same size. Music: it is a meeting point where the ends of your pieces, like wooden beams or metal tubes, come together. Music: because it already has holes and slots, you can bolt different struts onto it at different angles and create a solid locked-in joint. The nice part is you don't need fancy woodworking music joints or perfect angle cuts. Straight cuts are enough Music and the connector decides how everything lines up. Music: once it's tightened down, the joint becomes strong through the bolts pulling things together and the surfaces gripping Music each other, so it can hold both pulling forces and squeezing forces. You'll see these lots in geodesic domes, Music where triangles help spread weight and pressure across the whole frame. Music: usually, each strut connects using 1 or 2 of these brackets and then several brackets come together at one point. And it's not just for domes. You can use this Music system with wood, metal pipes, or composite pieces, which opens up a ton of different build styles. Music: since 2003, Frame House has been doing what every quick construction enthusiast will approve of, building wooden frame homes using prefabricated timber components. Prefabricated beams and wall panels, including versions with windows. Music. This little garden building is long and skinny, about 20 feet 8 inches long and 4 feet 1 inch wide. The cool part is that it's built like a kit. The pieces are modular, so you can put it together in around 2 hours. It uses black waterproof plywood in 2 thicknesses held up by a timber frame. On top, there's a clear fiberglass roof sheet, so it lets light in. It is set on a skid foundation and held up by 12 ground screws. Music. So it is lighter on the site and way easier to move later. It also has a few handy add-ons. A small solar panel powers a battery, a light, and a USB outlet. And there's a rainwater collection system that drains into a built-in container. Inside, it's organized with lots of storage spaces, music plus areas for animals, like a chicken coop and some raised sections for housing. The whole thing works like a strong frame that holds a bunch of removable box-like compartments. Music. Each box is made just a tiny bit bigger than the opening it goes into, so it slides in with a small gap instead of getting jammed. To lock everything in place, it uses 8mm bolts with washers and nuts, so you can tighten it up securely, but also undo it later without wrecking anything. Some containers are built strictly for shipping goods, while others are made for full-time living. And in this music case, the only thing that TMG Industrial Units really keeps from a traditional storage container is its familiar shape. What stands out right music away is how practical this expandable container home is. It's easy to ship because it stays compact during transport, music just like a standard container. Once it arrives on site, though, it opens up into a finished pre-planned layout that feels much more like a small house music than a metal box. That home-like feel is backed by solid music construction, too. It's built around a tough 3mm hot galvanized steel frame with insulated sandwich music panel walls designed to help regulate indoor temperature. Insulation thickness varies by section, about 3 in music for the side walls, roughly 2 in for the interior partition walls, and around 2 in for the roof music panel. For doors and windows, it comes with 2 bedroom doors, a big sliding glass entrance door with an aluminum frame, a glass music bathroom door, and lots of windows. 8 larger double-paned ones, plus 1 smaller window with thicker glass. The best part is the layout once it's opened. 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, and a bathroom. So, it's not just an empty box. You're getting something that already feels organized and ready to live in. Music. Whether it's a 1,500 feet home or a 5,400 feet home, it doesn't matter. Those construction speeds will be faster than similar solutions in any case. The high construction speed is due to a simple feature that many might call cheating. What hits you first isn't just the dome shape, music, it's how smart the whole system is. Everything is built using materials efficiently and reusing the same kinds of parts. There are 12 models, and they're made using a modular method that's designed around standard 4x8 foot sheets. The design uses a special set of curved parallel arcs spaced about 3.9 feet apart. In some models, the curve is based on the golden ratio, which basically means you get better headroom and more usable space inside without making the dome feel bulky. A lot of the newer kits use plywood, and since panels line up on 4 feet centers, adding outer cladding is easier. One model called Leonardo goes in a different direction. It uses 24 hybrid arches made from bent laminated boards, and those arches work together with a truss structure. The whole thing is held together with a hot dip galvanized steel connector. Then there's Chin AR, which sticks closer to the classic geodesic dome style. It's based on a fourth frequency layout using triangular wooden pieces and 92 metal connectors. Music. According to EPC, you can assemble a dome house in 2 hours. To do this, you need to use their foam polystyrene panels. The building process is quite simple. The panels are methodically connected to each other, gradually forming the dome. Because it's a dome, the shape helps spread weight and pressure across the whole surface. That's why it can handle strong winds, around 125 to 155 miles per hour, and usually does well in earthquakes. The foam inside also works like built-in insulation, so heat doesn't move through the walls. Dome sizes can be small, around 10 feet across, or pretty big, over 65 feet, and you can still add things like doors, windows, and skylights right into the design. Building one is easy and fast, as we mentioned before. First, you make a round foundation. Then you assemble the pre-cut foam panels into the dome shape. After that, workers add the mesh and apply the outer coating until it hardens into a solid shell. Once the shell is done, you finish the inside and outside, and install stuff like wiring, plumbing, and other utilities. The foam panels help in a bunch of practical ways. Since they're light, they're easier to transport, lift, and place. You'll usually see this kind of dome used for homes, eco-housing projects, temporary shelters, and places like resorts that want cute units. Nomad Shelter operates in Alaska, so they definitely know how to create yurts that are well suited for harsh conditions. The company's yurts are placed on a wooden base made from pre-assembled parts, which is very useful. Depending on the model, the quick setup can take around 5 to 30 minutes, and if you're doing the full build with all the extras, it could take a few hours. The weight can vary a lot, about 220 to 1,100 pounds based on the size and what it's made from. Inside, you're looking at 270 sq-ft of space, and it's designed to be moved on a small trailer. It's built to be strong, but not ridiculously heavy. The main frame is usually aluminum or steel. The walls and roof are made from insulated panels, kind of like a sandwich with foam inside. Some versions can also be upgraded with things like solar panels, ventilation, wiring for electricity, and even optional heating or cooling. As we mentioned before, the frame is foldable, and it opens up using hinged parts until it locks into a stable shape. When it expands, the floor panels lift the inside area slightly off the ground, which helps keep it drier and improves insulation. Most of the time, the shape is a rectangle. The inside is flexible, so you can use it for whatever you need, sleeping, working, a medical station, or storage. You can change the layout with modular divider walls and foldable furniture, and it usually comes with lighting. Houses like these look really odd, but they're already becoming popular. To build monolithic domes, you start by erect concrete foundation that shapes the structure. The main skeleton is a bunch of steel triangles that connect together to form a strong round frame. Over that frame, there's a thick fabric cover that gets pulled tight, kind of like a super tough tarp. It's fully waterproof, plus it has UV protection, so the sun doesn't wreck it quickly. If you want extra comfort inside, you can add an inner liner or insulation. That helps keep temperatures more stable and cuts down on condensation, music. That annoying water buildup you sometimes get inside tents. For light and music airflow, you can add big clear windows, and doors can be proper glass ones with aluminum or steel frames that lock. There are also vents, some with mesh, some with zippers, so you can get fresh air moving through without leaving everything wide open. Size-wise, they can be pretty small or surprisingly big, from about 13 feet wide to over 33 feet across. A 20-feet dome gives you close to 300 sq ft of space, is around 11.5 feet tall, and comfortably fits about 2 to 4 people. Putting one together usually takes about 1 to 3 days with a small team. And to keep it in good shape long term, it mostly comes down to simple stuff. Clean the outer cover once in a while, and check the bolts and connections now and then. On your screens, you can see a yurt being set up, and it's a perfect choice for those who've always dreamed of living in a somewhat unconventional structure. The build is pretty solid. You get insulated wall panels, an integrated floor system, and insulated cathedral-style ceiling panels. It also includes double-pane low-E windows, fiberglass doors, and a commercial-grade Duralast roof membrane. It's designed to handle winds up to 115 miles per hour and a ground snow load of 180 lb per square foot. A 360 degrees dome skylight comes standard, too. Even though it's round, it's not like the classic fabric yurts you might have seen. Since the walls are rigid and insulated like regular construction, it's easier to keep the inside comfortable and stable temperature-wise. It lines up with the 2021 International Building Code. One thing that's really practical, the floor system is made so it can sit on lots of foundation types. And because it's prefabricated, it can be taken apart and moved later. The parts ship on pallets and they can be broken down so you can get them into more remote spots. Assembly is usually pretty quick, around 3 to 5 days. If you want to level it up, there are upgrades, too. A bigger insulation package can make the wall thickness about 4 inches. It can also add a double dome skylight with an air gap, which helps cut down heat. In this video, there was already a container home that, due to its ability to fold, greatly simplified transportation. But here we have another one, and it is a standard 40 feet expandable container house. Basically, it ships in a compact container shape, and once it's delivered, the sides unfold to create a lot more room, usually around 750 to 800 sq ft. And the best part is that most of the big stuff, wiring, plumbing, windows, doors, is usually already installed at the factory. Inside it is pretty practical: 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen, plus a combined living and dining area. Some versions add extra things like a hallway or storage. The way it expands is kind of satisfying. The side sections are hinged so they fold outward from the middle like giant panels. When everything is opened up, the sections lock into place so it becomes sturdy and stable. And since a lot is pre-built already, the full setup on site can often be done in 1 to 2 days. You can also choose upgrades depending on what you want, stuff like air conditioning, solar panels, or furniture packages. Because it's modular, you can tweak the layout and features, which changes the comfort level and how it performs. Price really depends on how basic or fancy you go. Some simple factory units might start around $6,000, while more complete 2-bedroom setups often land around $18,000 to $40,000. High-end versions with extra systems and better materials can go over $50,000.